The automotive industry is collapsing in slow motion right before our eyes. 13 car brands are bleeding money so badly that they are practically giving vehicles away just to keep factories running. While mainstream media tells you the market is stabilizing, the truth is these manufacturers are in full-blown panic mode. If you want the unfiltered truth about what is really happening in the car industry, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel does not hold back. Let me start with Mitsubishi. This brand has been living on borrowed time for almost a decade, and the final countdown has begun. Walk into any Mitsubishi dealership today, and you will notice something disturbing. The showroom feels like a ghost town. The sales staff looks desperate. The vehicles sit under fluorescent lights gathering dust because almost nobody under 40 even knows Mitsubishi still sells cars in America. Their model lineup has shrunk to just 4 vehicles. The Mirage, which feels like it was designed in 2003. The Outlander Sport, which is rebadged and outdated. Alfa Romeo is next, and this one stings because their cars are genuinely beautiful. The Giulia is gorgeous. The Stelvio drives brilliantly. On paper, Alfa Romeo should succeed. In reality, they are failing spectacularly. The dealer network has collapsed from over 180 locations just 5 years ago to barely 80 today. That is more than a 50% reduction in retail presence. Each closed dealership represents millions in lost investment and dozens of customers who now have nowhere to service their vehicles. This creates a vicious cycle. Fewer dealers mean less convenient service. Less convenient service means fewer buyers willing to take the risk. Fewer buyers mean more dealer closures. Around and around until the brand disappears entirely. The reliability reputation haunting Alfa Romeo is not internet rumor. It is documented fact. Consumer Reports ranks Alfa Romeo at the absolute bottom of reliability ratings year after year. Jaguar has already announced it is going all electric and taking a 2-year hiatus from selling new cars. Let that sink in. A car company that is taking a 2-year break from selling cars. This is not a bold reinvention. This is a controlled demolition. The brand discontinued its entire current lineup in 2024. Every sedan, every SUV, everything gone. Their plan is to return in 2026 with ultra-luxury electric vehicles starting above $100,000. This strategy is insane for multiple reasons. First, Jaguar has spent the last decade trying to move down market with models like the E-Pace and the XE to compete with BMW and Mercedes at accessible price points. Maserati occupies that bizarre space, where a brand is too expensive to be practical, but not prestigious enough to justify the price. Their identity crisis has reached terminal velocity. Current models, like the Ghibli and the Levante, are priced in the $80,000 to $120,000 range. At that price point, buyers can choose from BMW 7 Series, Mercedes S-Class, Audi A8, Porsche Cayenne, or Range Rover. Every single one of those alternatives offers better reliability, stronger resale value, more advanced technology, or superior brand cachet. Most offer all 4, so why would anyone choose a Maserati? The answer used to be exclusivity and Italian passion, but exclusivity does not matter when your car is in the shop constantly, and passion does not pay the repair bills. Reliability issues plague Maserati even more severely than Alfa Romeo. Owners report catastrophic depreciation combined with maintenance costs that rival supercars. One independent analysis found that the 5-year cost of ownership for a Maserati Ghibli exceeds the original purchase price of the vehicle. Think about that. You buy an $80,000 sedan, and over 5 years, you will spend another $80,000 keeping it running and watching its value evaporate. That is not luxury. That is financial masochism. Lincoln has been trying to reinvent itself for 15 years and keeps failing. The brand suffers from an identity problem that goes back decades. What is Lincoln? It is not sporty like Cadillac tried to be. It is not technological like Tesla. It is not prestigious like the German brands. It is not reliable like Lexus. So what is it? The answer seems to be nice interiors and a quiet ride, which is not nearly enough to build a luxury brand in 2026. The model lineup reflects this confusion. The Nautilus and Aviator are competent mid-size SUVs that offer nothing you cannot get from a well-equipped Ford Explorer for $20,000 less. The Navigator is genuinely impressive, but exists in a tiny market segment and faces vastly better competition from Cadillac Escalade and Range Rover. The Corsair is so forgettable that I had to look up its name while researching this script. This is not a brand with a clear vision. This is a parts bin luxury division trading on a name that stopped meaning something 30 years ago. Incentive spending at Lincoln has skyrocketed as the brand struggles to maintain even modest sales volumes. Average discounts now exceed $6,000 per vehicle across the lineup. Lease programs are subsidized heavily to hide residual values that have fallen off a cliff. A 3-year-old Lincoln MKZ, back when they still made sedans, retains barely 40% of its original value. Even their SUVs, which should hold value better in today's market, depreciate like rocks dropped from buildings. Fleet sales now represent a huge portion of Lincoln volume. Rental car companies, corporate fleets, livery services, these are not the prestigious retail customers Lincoln needs to rebuild brand equity. They are distressed sales designed to keep factories running and absorb fixed costs. Every Lincoln Town car at the airport rental counter is a billboard advertising the brand's fall from grace. Ford executives keep insisting Lincoln is core to their luxury strategy, but their actions tell a different story. Investment in Lincoln-specific platforms has dried up. Model differentiation from Ford products has shrunk. Marketing budgets have been cut. What we are seeing is a slow-motion abandonment disguised as patience. Lincoln will not be officially killed. It will simply fade away as Ford stops investing and customers stop caring. Dodge is facing an existential crisis disguised as an electric transition. The brand built its entire modern identity on one thing: massive horsepower from supercharged V8 engines, the Hellcat, the Demon, the Red-Eye. These were not just cars, they were cultural statements, gas-guzzling middle fingers to environmentalism and practicality, and the enthusiasts loved it. But Stellantis has announced that the V8 era is over. The Charger and Challenger have been discontinued. The new Charger will be electric or possibly turbocharged 6-cylinder. The Durango is the last V8 standing, and it is on borrowed time. This transition is erasing everything that made Dodge relevant. The customer base Dodge cultivated over the past 15 years is not asking for electric performance. They want rumbling exhaust notes and supercharger whine. They want to smell race fuel and burn rubber. You cannot replicate that experience with an electric motor and regenerative braking, no matter how quick the 0 to 60 time is. Dodge knows this. Their own market research shows that over 70% of current Dodge performance buyers have zero interest in electric vehicles. Zero. So the brand is about to alienate the only customers who still cared. The new electric Charger faces impossible expectations. It must somehow capture the spirit of a 10-year legacy while being completely different. It must appeal to traditional Dodge buyers while attracting new electric vehicle converts. It must compete with Tesla on technology while maintaining muscle car credibility. It must hit ambitious sales targets while being based on a platform shared with boring Stellantis minivans. This product is set up to fail. Dealer sentiment has collapsed. Many Dodge dealers invested heavily in performance parts, service training, and showroom experience tailored to muscle car buyers. Now they are being told that entire business model is obsolete. Some are refusing to make required electric vehicle infrastructure investments. Others are diversifying into used cars and other brands. The enthusiasm that made Dodge dealerships fun is evaporating as everyone realizes the glory days are over. Without V8 muscle cars, Dodge is just another car brand with nothing special to offer. The Journey was garbage. The Dart failed. The Neon is long dead. Remove the Hellcat halo, and what is left? A mid-tier mainstream brand with no identity selling rebadged minivans and electric cars nobody asked for. That is not a recipe for success. That is a recipe for joining Plymouth in the automotive graveyard. Volkswagen cannot escape the Dieselgate shadow no matter how many years pass. The emissions cheating scandal destroyed something fundamental that advertising cannot rebuild: trust. Before Dieselgate, Volkswagen was the quirky German alternative. Practical but fun, reliable but interesting. After Dieselgate, they became the brand that deliberately lied to customers and regulators for years. That stain does not wash off. Consumer sentiment tracking shows Volkswagen still ranks in the bottom quartile for brand trust and corporate ethics. People remember, and they care. This trust deficit translates directly into pricing pressure. Volkswagen products now require significant incentives to compete with Japanese and Korean alternatives that do not carry ethical baggage. The Tiguan needs $4,000 in discounts to move. The Atlas needs even more. The ID.4 electric vehicle, which should be their fresh start, is being heavily incentivized because early adopters do not trust Volkswagen software and engineering claims. When your brand promise is German engineering and precision, getting caught cheating destroys the foundation of your entire value proposition. The electric transition has been especially rough. Software delays plagued the ID.4 launch. Over-the-air updates failed. Infotainment systems froze. Range estimates proved optimistic. Every problem confirms what customers already suspected. Volkswagen cannot be trusted to deliver what they promise. Meanwhile, competitors like Hyundai and Kia have launched electric vehicles with better software, longer warranties, and more attractive pricing. Volkswagen is losing the electric race to brands they used to look down on. The dealer network is frustrated and shrinking. Profit margins have collapsed under incentive pressure. Customer traffic is down. Warranty costs remain elevated. Many dealers are consolidating or adding other brands to compensate for declining Volkswagen profitability. Some have walked away entirely. Each departure weakens the network and makes the brand less accessible and convenient. Volkswagen keeps promising the turnaround is coming, but the metrics keep getting worse. Market share is declining. Transaction prices are falling. Brand perception remains damaged. At some point, Volkswagen leadership will have to ask the hard question. Is the North American market worth the investment required to fix this mess, or should resources be deployed elsewhere? That conversation is coming sooner than anyone wants to admit. Nissan is in full retreat and trying desperately to hide it. The transmission nightmare that has haunted Nissan for over a decade has permanently damaged their reputation. The continuously variable transmission problems affect Rogues, Sentras, Altimas, and Pathfinders across multiple model years. Class action lawsuits, technical service bulletins, extended warranties, none of it fixed the fundamental problem. These transmissions fail prematurely and cost $4,000 to $7,000 to replace. Owners who trusted Nissan got burned. They told their friends. Those friends told their friends. Now the market knows. Nissan CVTs are rolling time bombs, and nobody wants to inherit that problem. Resale values have collapsed accordingly. 3-year-old Nissan products are worth 10 to 15% less than equivalent Hondas and Toyotas. That gap represents real money. Thousands of dollars in destroyed equity for every Nissan buyer, and it creates a vicious cycle. Poor resale values make leasing more expensive. Expensive leases mean fewer customers. Fewer customers mean more incentives. More incentives further destroy resale values, around and around. The dealer network is contracting rapidly. Major metropolitan areas that once supported 6 or 7 Nissan dealers are down to 3 or 4. Rural markets are losing dealers entirely. Each closure leaves owners stranded for service and parts. It also eliminates local market presence and advertising. As the network shrinks, Nissan becomes less convenient and less visible. This feeds the death spiral. Carlos Ghosn's escape from Japan in a musical instrument case makes a great Netflix movie, but it also reminds everyone that Nissan was run by executives more interested in private jets than quality control. The corporate culture that allowed the CVT disaster to continue year after year reflects leadership failures that go beyond one scandal. New management keeps promising change, but the product lineup tells a different story. The Ariya electric vehicle launched years late to a market already saturated with better options. The new Z-Car is a low-volume niche product that does nothing for mainstream buyers. The Rogue and Altima are fine, but unremarkable. This is a brand with no plan beyond hoping customers forget the past. They will not. Ram has been separated from Dodge for over a decade, but it still cannot escape the reliability problems that plague Stellantis trucks. Owner satisfaction ratings for Ram trucks consistently trail Ford and Chevrolet despite aggressive marketing and genuinely impressive interiors. The problems are not minor annoyances, they are significant mechanical and electrical failures that leave owners stranded. The eco-diesel engine has faced multiple recalls and class action lawsuits for emission systems failures. The air suspension systems fail prematurely. The infotainment screens freeze and crash. Transmissions shudder and slip. These are not isolated incidents. They are patterns documented across owner forums and service records. Ram's response has been inadequate. Extended warranties on some components, technical service bulletins that blame owners for improper maintenance, software updates that fix some problems while creating others. What Ram has not done is fundamentally redesign the systems causing failures. Instead, they keep refreshing interiors and adding luxury features, hoping buyers focus on heated armrests instead of reliability data. It is not working. The heavy-duty truck market is particularly brutal. Commercial buyers track total cost of ownership down to the penny. They know which trucks spend time in the shop and which ones keep working. Ram is losing fleet sales to Ford Super Duty because fleet managers trust Ford to keep trucks running. No amount of marketing about best-in-class towing changes that calculation. As half-ton sales remain strong, they are propped up by massive incentives that destroy transaction prices. Ram regularly offers $8,000 to $12,000 in combined discounts on 1,500 models. These are not limited-time sales. They are permanent pricing adjustments disguised as promotions. When a truck that stickers for $60,000 regularly sells for $48,000, the sticker price is fiction. This incentive addiction kills profitability and trains customers to never pay full price. Stellantis is leveraging Ram to absorb fixed costs and keep factories running, but the brand is not building long-term value. It is trading short-term volume for long-term viability. Every heavily discounted Ram creates a used truck that competes with new inventory while reminding buyers that patience and negotiation pay off. This is not sustainable. GMC is redundant, and everyone knows it except apparently General Motors. The brand exists solely to segment the market and extract slightly higher prices from truck buyers willing to pay for different badges. But the differences between GMC and Chevrolet have shrunk to almost nothing. The Sierra and Silverado share platforms, engines, transmissions, suspensions, and most interior components. The Terrain is a rebadged Equinox. The Acadia is a slightly upscale Traverse. This is not brand differentiation. This is badge engineering. And customers are catching on. The professional-grade marketing that GMC has relied on for years rings increasingly hollow. What makes a GMC more professional than a Chevrolet? Is it the grille? Because that seems to be the main difference. Fleet buyers are not fooled. They know a Sierra and Silverado are mechanically identical. They buy whichever dealer offers a better price. Retail customers are figuring it out too. Once you realize you are paying $4,000 more for the same truck with different badges, the value proposition collapses. General Motors keeps both brands because they can charge slightly higher prices for GMC and because consolidating dealer networks would be expensive and politically complicated. But the business case is weakening. Transaction prices for GMC products have fallen closer to Chevrolet equivalents as incentive competition intensifies. If GMC cannot maintain meaningful price premiums, what is the point? The Hummer EV revival is a distraction, not a solution. It is a low-volume halo product that will never generate meaningful revenue. It reminds people GMC exists, but it does not solve the fundamental redundancy problem. Most GMC buyers are still choosing Sierras and Acadias that compete directly with in-house Chevrolet alternatives. General Motors has too many brands chasing the same customers with nearly identical products. Financial pressure will eventually force consolidation. When that happens, GMC is vulnerable. It does not have Chevrolet's volume. It does not have Cadillac's luxury positioning. It does not have Corvette's halo effect. It is just there, taking up space, cannibalizing sales from Chevrolet while adding complexity and cost. That is not a long-term survival strategy. Subaru has coasted on all-wheel drive and quirky branding for too long. The market is catching up, and Subaru has no answer. Their core advantage, standard all-wheel drive, has been completely commoditized. Almost every competitor now offers all-wheel drive as standard or optional. Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Mazda CX-50, Hyundai Tucson. All-wheel drive is not special anymore, it is expected. Subaru built an entire brand identity on a feature that is now industry standard. What happens when your defining characteristic becomes table stakes? You better have something else to offer. Subaru does not. The model lineup has stagnated into boring anonymity. The Outback is the same vehicle it has been for 15 years with minor updates. The Forester is competent but utterly forgettable. The Crosstrek is slow and underpowered. The Ascent has a turbo 4-cylinder engine struggling to move a 3-row SUV. None of these vehicles lead their segments in any meaningful category. Not performance, not fuel economy, not technology, not luxury. They are just there. Adequate. And adequate does not win in a hyper-competitive market. Reliability is no longer a Subaru advantage either. Recent quality surveys show Subaru falling to middle of the pack. Oil consumption issues on certain engines, CVT problems similar to Nissan, infotainment systems that lag competitors by years. The quirky brand that used to attract loyal enthusiasts is now just another mainstream manufacturer with mainstream problems and no clear reason to choose them over alternatives. The enthusiast community that loved Subaru for the WRX and BRZ is aging out. Younger buyers do not have the same emotional connection to the brand. They do not remember when Subaru was the underdog with rally heritage. They just see small, expensive crossovers with weak engines, and they choose something else. Subaru's sales growth has stalled. Market share is flat or declining in key segments. Incentive spending is creeping up as the brand struggles to maintain volume without a clear competitive advantage. What worked for 20 years does not work anymore, and Subaru seems to have no plan beyond hoping customers do not notice. Volvo has been bought and sold so many times that nobody knows what it stands for anymore. Chinese ownership under Geely has brought investment and new models, but it has also created brand confusion. Is Volvo still the safety-focused Swedish alternative? Is it a Chinese brand pretending to be European? Is it a technology company making cars? The marketing says all three, and none of them convincingly. The electric transition has been messy. Volvo promised to be all-electric by 2030, then quietly walked that back. The Recharge models are competent but unremarkable in a crowded electric market. Polestar, the performance electric sub-brand, competes with Volvo for the same customers and cannibalizes sales. This internal competition makes no sense unless you understand that Geely is hedging bets and does not really know which brand will succeed. Reliability and quality have declined under Chinese ownership. Consumer Reports now ranks Volvo below average for reliability. Owners report electrical issues and software glitches. Service costs remain high, even as quality falls. That is the worst possible combination. You pay luxury prices for premium service, but get mainstream reliability. Why would anyone accept that deal when Lexus exists? The dealer network is thin and getting thinner. Many markets have only one Volvo dealer covering a huge geographic area. This makes service inconvenient and test drives difficult. Luxury buyers expect convenience. When the nearest dealer is 90 minutes away, they buy something else. Volvo keeps promising the turnaround is one model away, but that model never comes. The X90 has been delayed repeatedly. The current lineup is aging. Sales volumes are stagnant. What Volvo has become is a mid-tier premium brand with Swedish nostalgia and Chinese ownership trying to compete against German engineering and Japanese reliability. That is not a winning formula. So there you have it, 13 brands that went from household names to clearance racks. What this disaster reveals is that legacy and history mean nothing if you cannot give customers a reason to choose you today. Quality matters, value matters, trust matters. Once you lose those things, no amount of discounting brings them back. Some of these brands will survive by radically reinventing themselves. Most will not. They will fade away or be absorbed or simply stop selling cars in America while executives pretend it was always the plan. Which brand shocked you the most? Drop a comment and let me know if you think any of these companies can actually turn it around. Smash that like button if you want more unfiltered automotive truth. And subscribe because the car industry meltdown is just getting started, and I will be here to document every bankruptcy, every bailout, and every desperate fire sale along the way.